Hello, Tim here, and welcome to the group video critique of my attendees' brilliant watercolor paintings from the Amsterdam Canal tutorial, all hopefully inspired by my live demo. So every month, watercolor painters from all over the world join me for a couple of hours paint along, and this month we painted the Prinsengracht Canal in Amsterdam, one of the longest, or I think it is the longest of Amsterdam's three major canals, almost 3 kilometres in length, and flanked either side by lovely buildings, trees, lots of things to interest a watercolour painter. So in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the paintings one by one that we either did together during the live demo or by watching my recording. All attendees get unlimited access to the recording, where we tackled this pretty much iconic view of an Amsterdam Canal. It's got lots to interest watercolor painters. And what I'm looking for in my critique is, first of all, composition, taking the photo, not copying the photo, but trying to adjust things to make a more pleasing composition. Of course, we've got the reflections in the water. Can we convey realistic reflections and a little bit of movement in that water? We've got some colors as well, particularly in that water. What color would we make the water? It's a sort of muddy, greeny, earthy sort of color. What colors could we explore and exploit in there? We've got values, of course. In watercolor, we want to try and exploit the values between light and dark, particularly the car, the windscreen of the car actually highlighted or contrasting against the darker background. And also we have a very simple boat. We've got a car or two, we've got trees, we've got bicycles, because it is Amsterdam after all. We've got to have some bicycles in there somewhere. So I'm going to go through, first of all, show you the source photo, just delve into that in a little bit more detail. Then I will show you my painting from the live demo. Then we'll go through the attendees' paintings one by one, spend a minute or two on each one, and just giving my thoughts. It is just my thoughts. It's really interesting to see everyone's different interpretation of the same scene. And the workshop, we got painters of all different levels as well. So I'm going to try and give constructive feedback, and I'll be highlighting aspects that I admire most about the piece, maybe also some small tweaks or improvements as well. Now remember, as we go through the attendees' paintings, they are all taken, the photos are taken on different devices, mobile devices, top of the range cameras maybe. And so there's going to be a difference in the values, the colors, the focus as well, the resolution. So just bear that in mind as we go through. If you do want to take part, please go up to my event page, which is crowdcast.io/@TimWilmot. Love to see you on the next workshop, which will be a totally different scene to this. Okay, so let's dive into the source photo. This is my source photo, which I took from a little canal ride around the canal network there. We're looking almost into the light down a little narrow street from this canal boat. So I chose this scene because it's quite a nice composition. We've got a sort of H composition coming on here with the left-hand side, the right-hand side. We've got the boat across the middle, a sort of H, if you like. So framing of the left and right by those buildings and the reflections of those buildings. In the middle, we've got this quite large boat. It's right in the middle. I thought about moving that slightly to the left. Behind that, we've got, up on the side of the canal, we've got 3 cars there. I chose to keep it nice and simple. I went with just one car. And then that car, I'm quite attracted to the windscreen on that car. Quite bright against a darker background, and maybe move that car slightly over to the right. We've got loads of bicycles as well. How good are you at drawing and painting bicycles, trying to get the proportions right, the size of the wheels right, the distance between the wheels. So a few bicycles will feature in my and other paintings as well. We've got a little bit of foliage as well, these trees, that one there. And then just poking in from the right-hand side, we've got another tree there catching some of the yellow leaves on the outside of the canopy, catching the light. Star of the show will be, it's all about these reflections. Let's zoom in there. So what colour do you reckon that water's got to be? A sort of browny colour there, but there's all sorts of shades of brown, a lighter brown, mid-brown, darker brown. As we go over to the left-hand side, there's a little bit, well, it's a little bit different, a little bit darker there. A suggestion of movement in the middle, where we've got the gap between the two rows of houses. That's our little reflection there. And these beautiful shapes. What brush would you use to try and get those curves, the shapes of the lighter areas and the darker areas? A few softer waves in that gap as well. Over on the right hand side, if I can zoom in here, over on the right hand side, I reckon there's a little bit of green coming in there. The reflection from that tree. We may include a few figures as well. My painting then, as you can see, I made the boat a little bit smaller, move it over to the left, maybe made the street just a little bit wider, and also not right in the middle of the composition. So I made the right-hand side a little bit more dominant than the left. Also consideration of the horizon line, just moving that slightly above that center line there so that we can feature more on the reflections in the water. Reflections, I think they went okay. Trying to introduce a lot of variety of colors and tonal values as well. There's all my warmer, earthy, muddy colors there on the right-hand side. A lighter area, mid-brown, darker browns as well. There's that green infusion of the reflection from the light foliage. I moved that tree in just a little bit, just to feature a little bit more in that top right corner, some of that foliage coming down. We've got plenty of bicycles as well. Bicycles overlapping, connecting with each other. Obviously circular shapes, triangular shapes of the frames. We've got the railings as well. A figure or two walking through the scene. And if I can just go to the left-hand side here, we've got windows and architecture as well. They're quite complex, quite complicated buildings over in Amsterdam, and we have to try and simplify that, particularly down in this street here, going into the distance. Also trying to get a sense of depth as well. Should have mentioned that at the start. We're trying to get a little bit of depth into the painting, suggest that background, the receding right-hand side, the row of buildings there going down into the distance. Yep, so that is my effort. Then let's dive into the attendees. First up is Albertus. We'll go to this in alphabetical order. Seems to make sense. Nice composition. You haven't got the gap there right in the middle. You moved it slightly to the left following my line. Reduce the size of the boat. The car there contrasting nicely against the darker background. Yeah, very nice indeed. Maybe some of the windows that are facing us in the shade, perhaps a few of them could be just a little bit darker, not so reflective. In a few of those windows. But on the whole, the buildings are good. You've got the sense of depth there going into the distance. A couple of figures there. That left figure's all right, but the right figure, it looks a little bit too rigid, and also the head just a little bit too big for that figure. But good job on placing those figures. The bicycles are excellent. Very well drawn and painted as well. The proportions of the wheels to the frame, fantastic. Boat, I say, very good. Nice little sort of trail of a reflection coming out from the back of the boat. The reflections themselves, lovely colours. Maybe try and make some of the marks a little bit more random in these marks going down, these sort of diagonal row of marks there, Albertus, and also the edge of the gap here. Now, actually, those reflections there, these are better, but some of them, the actual shape of them are a little bit too rounded. We want to try and get to more angular shapes as well, and trying to connect all these different shapes together. But a good job on those reflections, really nice, and also slightly darker on the left. Trees are very good as well. Yeah, good job. Well done, Albertus. And Andrew, a slightly softer look, good composition. You've made the boat a little bit larger. Now, I think here we would need, we've got the light of the windscreen there, but I think we just need a little bit more light on the top of the side of the canal on the street there, just to, otherwise there's a lot of middle values here, and also perhaps a little bit lighter down there. That will give us a sense of depth going into the distance. Apart from that, it's very well drawn. The perspective is brilliant. The placement of the horizon, very good indeed. With the trees, try not to make them too perfect. This tree trunk here, try and have it, well, the top of the tree trunk there, try and have it beginning to sort of fan out. The leading trunk there gradually would then fan out, rather than looking like a sort of, like a little bit of a cigar there. So try and make it a little bit more natural. And again, going back to values, try and make the leaves a little bit lighter. The reflections are very good. Again, you've gone for a sort of softer look, as we have done at the tops of lots of soft edges there. Bicycles, yeah, they're very good. That one there particularly. And you've got some figures. With the figures, try not to make the heads too large. Good job on the car though. Yeah, very good. I like this bit of movement as well there. The bit of movement of that sky reflection. Well done, Andrew. And Anna. Very crisp, clear, bold watercolor, nice composition. Good job with the perspective, the buildings going the distance. Yeah, you've got a little bit of the depth. Perhaps you could have gone a bit softer there. Also with the lines, try and make them, these darker lines here, the architectural details, try and make them maybe just a little bit lighter as we go into the distance. The car, yeah, good job on the car. Nice and light against that darker background. The boat, perhaps it might be just a little bit too, light between that point there and that point there. The light's coming towards us. This cabin here might be creating just a little bit more shade there. So we've got the light at the end, maybe a little bit of light up the front end, but just a little bit of darkness down there. The reflections are fantastic. They are very good indeed. I like the brush marks, the shapes, the colours as well. That warmth you've got in there. Bit of warmth on the left-hand side as well. Very nice reflections. Certainly got a feeling of movement in the water, and these marks as well. The darker marks connecting with each other. Foliage, brilliant as well. We're using a bit of body colour, thicker paint, using it in a sort of opaquish way. Yeah, excellent. Bicycles, the wheels are just a little bit too small, but nice grouping of bicycles, and a figure riding a bicycle. Well done. Thanks, Anna. And Barb. Good composition. It's not, that gap's not right in the middle. It's slightly over the left-hand side. You've got a couple of cars in there. Well done on that. The cars are very well drawn and painted. The boat, perhaps that boat is right in the middle. I think it would look just a little bit better if it was nudging over to the left a bit more. But apart from that, good composition. The buildings, perhaps the buildings on that left-hand side could be a little bit darker, and a little bit darker, just a tiny bit darker on the right-hand side as well. Bicycles, very nice. They're excellent. And also, you've got a bicycle there, quite obviously leaning against the railing. Yeah, just as you would do. A couple of figures there. nice in proportion. Yep, fantastic. Right, reflections. Very good. Yeah, I like it. We've got the slightly darker reflections on the left-hand side. Nice edging to the lighter area. Mixture of, also just a little mixture of hard and soft edge, a bit of a deckled edge to some of the reflections. That also introduces lots of sort of different shapes and edges to those shapes. Yeah, very good reflections. And also you've got the light in there. I'm sure some of the other people put lights in as well. But nice, and another object where we can introduce a little bit of contrast, light against the dark. We zoom in there a bit more, light against the dark. Well done, Barb. And Christy. Very nice. My eyes, first of all, went to Christy. You're brilliant at cars. These cars are so good. Yeah, well done for including 3. I also like these buildings. Let me just zoom into these buildings. There's a little bit of you've got a little bit of a curve to that building, which I think is quite nice. The way that it just sort of curves down there into the distance, and we've got, it actually goes right down there, almost to the top level of the side of the canal. So nice composition. The boat nicely placed there. Bicycles in abundance. This looks like a real popular spot for leaving your bike. Maybe some of the bikes on the left-hand side, they wouldn't be highlighted so much as those maybe in the middle, with the light sort of streaming down this gap. Yeah, so maybe some of them wouldn't be so light with the rims and the frames. Nice group of figures, reflections. Yeah, you've introduced lots of different colours into those reflections. I think some of the reflection marks could be maybe a little bit larger coming towards us. They're okay there going over towards the boat, but as the reflections come towards us, maybe some of those reflection marks could be a tiny bit larger. But certainly got the sense of movement there in the water and lots of colours. Well done, and fantastic buildings. Well done, Christy. And cars as well. Colin. Oh, very warm. Yeah, very vibrant. My eyes went, first of all, to that area there, that red. The red contrasting with the cool of the boat. That orange then transferring to green. And then my eyes went up, bounced off the car, and that almost like a purple violet colour there on the right-hand side, and on the left as well. Yeah, nice composition. A nice balancing, I think, of the boat with the car. Car is very good. Those reflections are fantastic. Yeah, you've captured a really colourful scene here, Colin. Perhaps the canal side there could be just a little bit darker, unless we were to think, trying to make an excuse now, but maybe it could be some reflected light coming back. But that's a super scene. Yeah, well done on getting inserting all those different colours, and lovely car there. Well done, Colin. We've got 2 Collins. That was Colin. I'd normally put in a letter for the surname. Colin 1 and Colin number 2. It must be something about the name Colin. They're both brilliant. This is a fantastic scene, Colin. Nice composition. You've got a little bit of a slope, nice slope on the canal side. Not so sure about the light there on that side. Perhaps that could be a bit darker, thinking about the light coming in. Good job on the perspective. Sense of depth as well with those buildings. The windows as well. Some of them could be just a little bit darker in the shadows. Boat is very good indeed. The hull could be a tiny bit darker, but good boat shape. The car, zoom into the car. Car is very good. Yeah. Very good car. Bicycles, yes, perhaps we could have a little figure here and there. I often take, in a scene like this where where you're left with different shapes, like here, for example. That could be made into a head or a shoulder or something like that. Perhaps that could be, you know, a head there, perhaps, and I'm exaggerating this a bit. Perhaps a little bit of a figure there, a bit too tall for the area. But do you know what I mean? Just trying to pick up little shapes, areas of dark, areas of light, where you could transform them into something. Reflections are fantastic. Very good indeed. Like the brush marks. Very nice shapes you've got in those soft waves. Well done, Colin. And Dave, we might have we got two Davids? Yes, we do. This is Dave J. Well, we've got a different boat here. I think that's a very colourful boat, nicely placed as well. I like the fact that well, I guess you could have the cabin over on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. You've got it there, which I guess gives us an opportunity to put a bit of light on the top of it with the light coming down the gap there. Nice composition then. Good job on the perspective. Perhaps the buildings here could be just, as we go into the distance, perhaps it could be just a little bit lighter. Nice touch with the birds in the sky. Pigeons, seagulls or whatever coming in, as you would do near water. Car, yeah, nice car. Bicycles, let's zoom into a bicycle. Bicycles look okay. Nice grouping of bicycles, and then the reflections. Let's zoom back out. The reflection, I think this looks a little bit messy here. I know what you're trying to do. You've got the reflection of the lighter cabins, but I think it's just a little bit messy. I think with a larger like that, my approach would be to try and leave that area a little bit light. So almost a similar value to the sky. All right, so just negatively paint around that. I think we get away with these fenders, the reflection of these fenders. That's spot on. They're really good reflection marks there. Let's zoom into them. Yeah, really good. Zoom back out again. Lovely colours in the reflections. I like that little bit of darkness there. Could be something to do with that car. Yeah, nice reflection marks. Well done, Dave, Dave J, and David. Nice composition. I like the star, particularly on the top portion of the watercolour. Just zoom in here. All of this sort of loose transparency, exploiting what watercolour does, letting the paint move around, soft edges, hard edges, a few hard edges there. We got the sense of depth going to the distance, bit of light there, encroaching on that left-hand side. Excellent, lovely, and beautiful cars. Well, that car in the middle, outstanding. Yeah, I think the boat is a little bit too stretched out, and maybe the hull just a little bit too light, I think. If it was certainly a bit darker on the waterline, I reckon if there's some darkness, well, this is appearing red, but if imagine it was a little bit darker on the waterline, then that might compensate for it a little bit. But it's a good place to put that boat. The reflections, again, like the top, lovely brush marks, different watercolor techniques, a little bit of wetting, wet here, blooming, cauliflowers, different colors. I think perhaps with reflections, they could be a little bit more solid, like on that left-hand side there, and that right-hand side. But it's a nice style, I like it, very loose. Yeah, well done, David. And Fiona, let's zoom into that, nicely framed, nicely mounted. Every picture always looks better with a little bit of a frame around it, a white frame or a mount in this case. Nice composition, Fiona. I think we've got a bit of a shadow coming across here, maybe from your arm or something like that. But we'll bear that in mind with that bit of a darker band diagonally across it. Good composition. Perspective is good. Got the sense of depth going to the distance there. The car almost looks like a Small van, yeah, nicely placed there, light against the darker background. There's a bit of emptiness here. Perhaps there could be those figures, perhaps there could be a few more figures or something in that area there, just to exploit that little bit of lightness and putting something dark there. Maybe a few more bicycles in that area. Boat is very good. The zoom out to the reflections. I like the reflections. I also like the fact that you've connected the bottom here, which it may not happen in reality, but I think it really works with this painting, that kind of connection there. We've got that little bit of a sort of oval there in the middle of that sky. Perhaps the reflections with your building, the width of the gap, perhaps that reflection area could be just a little bit wider. But the reflections themselves are very good. I love the colour. That's an earthy green, greens and browns. Very nice. Yeah, well done, Fiona. And Isabel. Oh, let's zoom in here. I love that cyclist going up the hill, struggling. You can feel the energy going into pedaling uphill. That car is fantastic. Very good. Yeah, excellent. So composition, brilliant. The balance of the boat, the bicycle, the car there, this that post there, sort of aligned with that kind of darker mark on the building. Perspective, brilliant. Sense of depth, fantastic. Yeah, very good indeed. I think the boat, I like the top of the boat, I like the cabin of the boat, and that the subtle sort of cools and warms you've got in there. But I think the hull is a little bit too high, could be a little bit shallower. And also the waterline is, I'm not sure, I need to go back through some of the others now. The waterline is almost in line with the waterline of the canal. Maybe it could come just a little bit further forwards and that boat just a little bit lower. But I do like the top of that boat, fantastic. Reflections are very good. The angle that you've got there, slight sort of angle going upwards, these here coming down, those coming down as well. It's got a sort of sense of movement going around there. Yeah, very nice reflections, lovely colours as well. Mixture of edges, lovely foliage on the trees, particularly that right-hand one. Excellent, Isabel, thank you. And Joe. Right, I think Joe's photo looks a little bit darker. I'm sure Joe's photo Joe's painting would be a lot brighter than this. You've got a sense of a nice sort of still conditions here. So no canal boats going up and down, creating the turbulence in the water. You've gone for that stiller look, which I guess you might do when there's no boats around, early in the morning or later in the day. Yeah, very nice. Perhaps they could be. Let's talk about composition now. Okay, that car is way over on the right. Maybe it might look a bit better if it was about there. It's a nice car, but just move it over to the left. Good job with the perspective. I think this building needs something on it. Just some very narrow, faint windows, just receding into the distance, getting lighter into the distance. I think that would help there, not have it so plain. The other building left and side, left and right, very good indeed. Bicycles. Yeah, they look okay. With the bicycle wheels, try and not have them too far apart like that one there. Looks like it's just a little bit too far apart. Boat, very good. And the reflection as well. Reflections are a little bit easier, aren't they, when there's no movement in the water. The rest of the reflections, though, very nice indeed. I like it. And then that tree reflection as well. That's just the right place for that tree reflection. Nice bit of blooming, or the difference of edges there. This mark here, sort of lost and found. Excellent. Well done, Joe. And Kat. Yeah, very live. You've got a real sense of movement here with your brush marks and these little speckles of light showing through. Nice composition, good feeling of depth here. Perhaps there could be some, I'm not sure if there should have been some railings here, maybe just to stop people falling in. But nice composition, lovely car as well. The use of that white paint, I'm not so sure about that dry brush mark there. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get a sort of above the entrance or something above the window, sort of lighter mark. But just think it almost looks like snow in a way. So just be careful of the use of white paint in an area like that. But we've got those figures, very good figures, just the right proportion, right size, the size of the head to the body, sense of movement, fantastic. Nice grouping of bicycles, left and right. And then the boat, yeah, very good. Doesn't need this dry white brush mark there. We've got the waterline, I guess, there, nicely placed, and then reflections. So you've moved the horizon down a little bit, so we've got a little bit less space for those reflections, but it's all right. They're okay. They're nice reflections. That's just your choice on the scene. Yeah, and nice loose brush marks for the tree as well. Perhaps with that top left corner, just continue the brush marks, the foliage above there. Love that colour there. That orange and that purple, or a very cool red. Lovely sort of range of reds and browns in this. Fantastic. Well done, Kat and Kazim. I love that foliage coming down the right-hand side. The shape of the foliage and that bright green, yeah, bright yellowy green against the background. Yeah, nice composition. Placement of the car and the boat. I think you pretty much followed my line on this one. We've got a guy pushing a bicycle, or maybe, no, my mind is making up a story now. Maybe he's padlocking the bike to the railings, but lovely bikes, especially that one there. Very, very nice. Boat is excellent. Perhaps the bottom of the boat, to try and connect it to the water, perhaps there could be less of that lighter value there. It's quite, with that hard line, where the white meets with the dark, the light meets with the dark, just makes it sort of float a little bit above the waterline. I think if there was a softer transition between the two, that might work a little bit better. Good reflection marks though, getting in the top of that building there, a bit of sky in that bottom left-hand corner. Those reflection marks are fantastic, especially those there. Yeah, lovely. Well done, Kazim. And Lillian. Well, we've got a bit of a soft look with this one. I like this soft glow in the water, almost like there's a little bit of mist coming into the area. Nice composition. The placement of the car and the boats. Again, we've got a cyclist. Your gradient isn't so high as some others, so that cyclist got an easier time. Sense the depth of the buildings going into the distance there. Let's zoom back out. Trying to ignore that masking tape on the right hand side. Let me just zoom in. Yeah, that's better. There we go. Yeah, as I say, you've gone for that softer look. We've got a hard edge there, but I do like that soft look. The buildings on that right hand side, and then that sort of soft edge, soft surrounding to the reflections of the sky. And then likewise left and right, we got more soft edges. Sense of movement though. Sense of movement on the left hand side with that sort of darker mark there. Then it goes light, then a dark mark, light, dark. Yeah, it's sort of like fanning coming around. Very nice. Well done, Lillian. Thank you. And Lynn. Nice and bright. Good composition. That car, very good. Not so sure about that car. I think it looks a little bit on an angle, and it doesn't need, it's that front windscreen. That light left and right, just think it's a little bit too thick. But that car, fantastic. The perspective is very good, sense of depth in the distance. Figures are excellent. Got a bit of a family grouping here. Really good. Bicycles, yeah. Let's just see if we can find. I like the sort of loose way that you've done those bicycles. Not even like that one there. You don't even need to do the frame for it. We can instantly in our own mind think, well, this is Amsterdam. There must be a bicycle. Boat. Yeah, your boat's quite small. Perhaps could be a little bit larger, but it's a nice boat. And also, like a few of the others, perhaps if the water line was just a little bit lower, that might bring it out from the harbour, from the canal side a little bit more. Good reflections, certainly in the distance there. Not so sure about, I think this area over here could be a little bit darker, and also try and get in some of the darker marks within the reflections, some of those reflections of darker objects from that building on the right hand side. And likewise this edge here, perhaps that could have a little bit more of a jagged edge, if you see what I mean. Just continuing the good work that you've done there on that side, Lynn, just continue it along the top of that building. But lovely scene, really good foliage though. Like that green there. And the shape, the brush marks that you've made. Very nice. Thank you, Lynn. And another Lynn with an E. Yeah, I like those reflections. I'll come on to those in a minute. Good composition. The perspective is good. We've got the sense of depth as well going into the distance. Those buildings on the left-hand side, very, very good indeed. I like the loose style. Very sort of economical use of your brushwork there. Good figures. That figure there. Again, maybe padlocking something to the railings. Those railings are fantastic. And we've got that sort of lost and found. Lost and found. There's the light. There's the lights coming in. Car is very good. Boat is very good as well. I think it could be just a little bit of darkness along the top of the boat there, where the cabin is creating a little bit of shade. Now I do like these reflections. These white marks, yeah, I guess you're trying to create a little bit of sparkle on the surface, which is all right. But I think some of them look a little bit too like a sort of splattering mark. And also if I zoom in a bit more, with white paint, if you've got a little bit too much water, then as that mark dries, you get a sort of lighter area in the middle, and I don't know why it does it, but the pigment sort of settles around the outside, so you get this sort of bit of a white border to that shape. But I actually quite like those marks, but especially it's more effective here, where the marks are round, like that shape there, that shape there, that one there. Yeah, really nice reflection. Then below those white marks, nice brush mark, very, very lively sense of movement. You haven't copied the photo. You've gone off and created your own style for those reflection marks. Very good. Perhaps on that left-hand side there could be just a little bit less of that sky showing through. Yeah, well done, Lynn. And Mark. Nice composition. The perspective, Mark, perhaps with the buildings we could have a little bit of a steeper angle going down towards the end of the street there. But other than that, good job on the perspective, and the car looks more like a sort of van in a way. I think it could be a bit darker on this side here, Mark, just a little bit darker, but nice light against there. Cyclist, well done for having a cyclist cycling along. Just consider a cyclist like that, maybe turn them 180 degrees. Have that cyclist cycling into the scene rather than away from the scene. Boat is very good, especially with that light on the cabin there. Excellent. The reflections, we've got quite a lot of green here. Now, I think that it would definitely be green where we've got that tree. Lovely tree, by the way. Very nice tree. Where we'd have the green would be there, but maybe as we come over, we want to think about the reflection of those boats. So perhaps a slightly more browner, warmer colour for those reflections. And also try not to overwork these reflections. We've gone a little bit too soft. We've got a large area there that needs something in it. Maybe some darker reflections with harder edges around them. Let me just see if I can find an edge I'm talking about. Like there, you've got a hard edge there. All right. Some harder edges there. But that needs to be over there somewhere. I like the texture of the paper. Yeah. But a really nice scene. Well done. Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. And Mary. I love that reflection mark there. Brilliant. Good composition. Gone quite dark on the right-hand side, which is all right. Very atmospheric. It's a very loose watercolor, this. The perspective is very good. You've got the nice balance of the composition with the car. Good job on the car, the boat, nicely placed. But I think the star of the show are those reflections. Whatever brush that mark there, straight across, that bit of a splodge there. Beautiful edge. Lovely shape to those. Well done, Mary. And Mish. Good composition. Perspective as well, very good also. The placement of the car with a window, yeah, just the right place. I think we might need a figure or two in here. It looks a little bit isolated or deserted, so maybe a figure or two might help. Perhaps that bit of light there could be the shoulder of a figure or something like that. Lovely boat. I like the effect of the watercolor there, where you've put in some lighter color along that waterline, and it's sort of gone into that blue. I quite like that. It gives the boat a bit of character. The reflections are good. I think they might need to be moved a little bit over to the right, in that you've got that edge there. Maybe it needs to be there, and then the right-hand edge, just nudge things along a little bit. But the actual, if I get rid of those drawings, the actual reflection marks are brilliant, lovely. And also that you've got that angle again, like a few other people, that sort of bit of an angle, sense of movement. And nice colours in the reflections as well. The reds and the greens and the browns. Lovely, lovely darkness in that top right corner. Yeah, well done, Mish. Ravi. Good composition, perspective. Yeah, we could make that the distant street there a little bit lighter. Just be careful of the dark lines there. The architectural detail, just a little bit too dark, as are maybe those there. Yeah, but just maybe a little bit too many of them. But other than that, nice composition, good, strong vertical edges, good placement of car and the boat. Yep, the car is very well drawn. Bicycles, yeah, they look okay. Perhaps some of the wheels could be a little bit closer together. Good figures. I can see a figure there and there. Boat is good as well. The reflection, like a previous one, the reflection I think needs to be the left-hand edge there, and then maybe the right-hand side there, something like that. So just move it over a little bit. But the actual reflection marks themselves, let me just go in. The reflection shapes themselves, very nice. Yeah, again, we've got that sort of angular pattern, that one there, and then on the right-hand side, these darker marks as well. Very sort of suggestive of a little bit of movement in the water. Yeah, very good. Well done, Ravi. And Robbie. I like that tree standing out there. It's quite attractive, that. Probably wouldn't, in reality, probably wouldn't be so bright in the shape, but I do like it. So good composition. You've gone for more of a sort of central look. I do like the way that you've drawn the tops of those buildings there. They're very, that's classical Amsterdam, that is. Very well drawn. Like the car as well. Maybe, in my opinion, doesn't need these darker lines just to suggest the edge of the car there. Try and let the change in value speak for themselves, to actually say, you know, when one object ends, the other object starts. Yes, so perhaps a little bit less use of those dark lines. The bicycles are brilliant. The boat, yeah, very nice indeed. Those reflections are fantastic. And I also like these white marks here, where I guess you might have, maybe you've used a little bit of masking fluid perhaps, but that is very effective. Yeah, those reflections are fantastic. I like that sort of shape that you've got there. Sort of a bit of a curve, and it comes out, a bit of a curve. That mark going that way, that one going that way, that one that way, that one. Very good reflections. Yeah, perhaps with that bright green tree, that I'd be tempted to go with a little bit of bright green in that area there. Yeah, very nice. Well done, Robbie. And Roger. A very serene scene. The depth you've got in that street, fantastic. It's got a very, yeah, as I say, a serene, quiet atmosphere. Although we've got a bit of movement on the reflections, I think overall it's got a sort of feeling of calmness about it. Good composition. That car is brilliant. Very, very good indeed. The bicycles, yeah, excellent. Architecture, windows, very good. I like the way you've done your tree. Is that a bit of scratching out? Scratching out, I always have difficulty scratching out. It's all down to the timing, but you time that just right. You do it too quick and then the gap closes up. You do it too late and you end up damaging the paper. But that is perfect. Yeah, a nice natural shape to those twigs and branches as well. The boat. Not so sure about the cabin of the boat. It doesn't look so much like a piece of tarpaulin as looks like there's something actually in the boat in a way. But the boat is nicely placed, good shape to it. Reflections. Yeah, I think they sort of emphasize that style that you've got, the very sort of still conditions, just a bit of tiny movement in the water, and these radiating lines here, soft edges to them. Yeah, excellent. But that depth there, fantastic. Well done, Roger. And Rosella. Lots of lovely colours in this. Warms and cools, the coolness of the top of that building coming down to warm. Cool there, cool. Yeah, good composition. Nice placement of the boat and the car. Buildings are good. Perhaps this building over on the left-hand side could be a little bit darker. The reflections themselves, let's zoom into the reflections. Yeah, very nice. Certainly you've got the movement of the water, different colours in there, different edges as well. Soft and hard edges, there's that little bit of green coming through. Excellent. Well done, Rosella. And Sally. Have we got two Sallys? No. Sally. Now you've moved yours over to the right. Nothing wrong with that. We've got a few more of the buildings on the left. That actually works just as well as moving that gap over to the left. You've got over the right. Yeah, and you've got then, I guess you can make more of a play of that tree there on the left hand side. So it's a good composition, well drawn, good job with the perspective. Not so sure about the way that you've done the buildings with these marks here. Perhaps just a little bit overdone there. And perhaps we need a bit more of some buildings filling in that gap in there. Good car. Bicycles are good as well. The boat, nicely placed boat. The reflections are very good. I like them. The edge, that blue, a little bit of zoom in here. That granulation going on there. Green, blue, bit of warmth there. That's the reflection of the boat. Zoom back out. Warmth on the right hand side, a little bit of green and blues and reds. Very nice. Well done, Sally. And Sandra. Yeah, good composition. I like the darkness, like a few other attendees, the darkness you've got on the right hand side there. Very, very nice. And it's sort of, especially in yours, it really does show up the sunshine a lot more coming down. I guess the sun would be up here somewhere. It's coming down primarily just slightly to the right hand side, but you've got that contrast, making that car look a lot lighter because of the darkness over on the right. Yes, the values are brilliant. The car is very well drawn and painted. Bicycles, I think the wheels are a little bit too small and too wide. These bicycles are better, but some of these here just a little bit too, the wheels a little bit too far apart. Boat is very good. Attention to detail. You've got those little marks there along the top of the gunnels. The reflection, fantastic. Very, very good indeed. And also the little white sparkles on the surface as well. Yeah, very good. Well done, Sandra. And Saro. Good composition. I like the granulation that you've got on that building. Very fresh. You've got the depth going down. Just be careful this darker line here. Perhaps that could go a little bit lighter, that dark line there to the distance. But the perspective is fantastic. The windows. Good job with the foliage as well. That foliage coming across from the top right corner. The car, it looks good, but maybe it could be a little bit more detail in it, like the front grill lights possibly. It just looks a little bit too plain, that one. And perhaps a tiny bit dark on that right-hand side. Boat is very good. Now these reflections are, again, like many other people, they're fantastic reflections. Those shapes. Very nice. Excellent. And the lighter areas as well, that I think you might have, maybe you painted around those. Brilliant. Well done, Sarah. And Sheila. And you too, like a previous person, that you've moved that gap a little bit over to the right. Really works. Yeah, miss out that tree on the right-hand side. There's not enough space for it. Concentrate on that tree there. So well done with the composition, getting a couple of cars in. That boat, we've got a lot going on in this area here. Maybe that boat could be just moved along a bit. I'd be tempted to do that, just to bring it along. But other than that, good composition. Now, on that left-hand side, we've got those three windows there. I would try and go a little less detailed on that left-hand side. And likewise, a bit on the right-hand side as well. It's sort of on the side. We want the viewer to sort of concentrate on this area here. The rest of what's going on the side canal, yeah, good job with the bikes. A figure there. Those cars are really well drawn and painted. Got the light against the windscreen. A little bit of a triangle of light there, which you would do. You would find that because of the bit of shade on that left-hand side coming across that car. It's just right. Boat is very good. Just watch with the waterline again. It's sort of in line with the waterline of the side of the canal. Just bring it down just a smidgen, just a little bit, and then continue it on. That will look a bit better. The reflections are very good. I like the way that you've also observed the kind of three buildings above, where you've got, that's the right-hand one, the middle one, and the left-hand side, and then a little bit of that soft reflection for the trunk of the tree. Yeah, well done, Sheila. And Sylvia, as you might have seen in the slideshow when I started off, this was a vertical one, which that scene does lend itself to a vertical orientation, a sort of portrait orientation. I like it. Now, my eyes immediately have gone to that triangle of light there, just a subtle little triangle. Maybe the sunlight's more over to the left and coming in at that angle, so that we would get that bit of lightness hitting the tops of these buildings. Yeah, well done, Sylvia, on that. And of course, the light hitting that car. 3 cars there, very good. The boat. Yes, it's a beautiful composition. And as I say, lends itself to that vertical format. You've got a lot more space then to play with that gap and the reflection as well. Possibly you could have moved the horizon up just a little bit more, because what you've got going on down below is a little bit more interesting than up the top there in that kind of area there. Yeah, lovely composition. I like the warmth as well on that right-hand side, with a bit of light hitting the sides of those windows, not white. They've got that warmish glow to them. The cars have been painted, drawn very well. Yeah, they're all very good. A couple of figures over there. Got the bicycles, the boat really well painted, and then these loose reflections. Warm on one side, cool on the other. Another contrast. Yeah, lovely shape to those reflections. Well done, Sylvia. And Teresa. Good composition. Perhaps with the perspective, they those buildings could go down just a little bit steeper, just a little bit, so that you're kind of emphasizing the narrowness of that street. But other than that, good composition, nice balance of the boat with the car. You've gone with a greenish colour to that hull. I guess that works. Nice waterline as well. Nice placement of the waterline there, just where we need it. We've got the waterline of the canal there, the waterline of the boat, and then that kind of places it quite nicely there. Reflections. I think the reflections could be just a little bit more solid with less of these gaps coming through trees. So certainly on the left-hand side and closer to the canal wall, I think it could be a little bit more solid. By all means, we've got a few more gaps appearing as we come to the edge of those building reflections. Nice reflection here. This, not sure if this was a sort of bit of maybe lifting out or something like that. Looks like some kind of shape in there. But putting that aside, very good reflection. Love that green on the right-hand side, obviously reflecting that tree as well. We've got a couple of figures. Bicycles look good. That bicycle there, good. Yeah, just be careful with some of the wheel rims. Might be a little bit too thick. But it's a nice, colourful scene. Very loose. And good movement in the water. Well done, Teresa. And Vicente. Fantastic colours. You've got a couple of boats where you get the prize for the number of boats. And I like the vague way that that left-hand boat there almost merges, almost disappears into the canal wall and the water. Very effective. Just ease off on the white paint, I think, a little bit too much of it, and also the consistency of that white paint as well. That's a little bit too thin there, I reckon. So composition is good. Perspective, brilliant as well. Love all the colours that you got in. The range of edges as well. Softness here. Hard edges down here. I like that. The edge of this reflection. And the colours in there. Red, brown, yellow, green. Darker reddy brown there. But that edge. And where the pigment has just sort of settled and you've left it, you've laid down the paint and then you just let watercolour do its own thing, that sort of settling of pigment around the outside, getting that subtle dark edge. Yeah, a very, very colourful scene. Yeah, well done, Vicente. Well, we'll just rest on Vicente's painting for a bit. So thanks very much for patiently sitting through watching all those paintings one by one. I hope you enjoyed it, and everyone's different interpretation of this Amsterdam canal scene. If you want to take part in any of my workshops, previous ones or future ones coming up, just go to my event site, which is crowdcast.io/ and then the @ symbol, Tim Wilmot, TIMWILMOT. Love to see you on a future workshop, and my next video will be a normal tutorial video. Thanks very much for watching. Catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.